It's time for Side Scrollers with me, Stuttering Craig. You decide when you lose, not other people. And Blabs.
I like pickles.
And co-hosted by our friends from around the internet. If you like common sense, hit that thumbs up button and, of course, the subscribe button. And join us Monday through Friday live at 11 a.m. Central Time. And now, broadcasting from our homes, it's time for the #1 gaming and entertainment podcast on God's green earth. It's time for Side Scrollers.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome on out to Side Scrollers on YouTube.com and Rumble.com and SideScrollers.locals.com. What is going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday to you. Hi, I'm Stuttering Craig. Man, do we got a lot to talk about today. It's Bloody Tuesday in the video game industry, and good God, is it ugly out there. But we got a lot to talk about, which is great. Joining us, as always, the one, the only, the insufferable Blabs.
What in the shit? I can see everyone backstage, and everyone was like, "Ooh!" Listen, you want to talk about insufferable? This boomer over here had mic issues before everyone else showed up, and he turned on the foghorn to maximum speed. You could hear him. Listen, think that, but like 30 times louder. My heart is still pounding. I love how we got gray hair from him, but I'm insufferable.
I'm Blabs. I'm just kidding. You know you're the best.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
You know
anyway,
you're the best.
Hello, chats.
The absolute best ever. Oh, we're glad you're with us as always, Blabs.
Yeah, I'm on to you, bro.
I know. I'm sorry. I apologize.
That's right.
You're the best. Speaking of the best, hey, we're joined. It's Tuesday, which means we have Razorfist joining us. Razor, good to see you.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, gold dust.
A little gold dust for you. What?
I thought he was about to show off his bra.
No, right? My bro, you mean. My man's there.
His money don't jiggle, it falls.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, how you doing, Razor? You doing all right?
Fantastic. I discovered the secret to a long and healthy life.
Oh.
Yeah. Not testifying against Boeing, I think.
Yeah, right.
Hey, let's go. Bada bing. Hey, let's go.
Oh, hickory dickory dock. Anyway.
All right, let's go. Hey, someone who I don't think will be testifying against Boeing anytime soon, but will be joining our show today. It's Lynne. Great to see you, Kara.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Yeah.
It's going well. It's going well. Are you alive? Are you comfortable? Are you good?
Let me check.
It's like, I have a pulse.
Right.
Ready to go. Do we have our glasses? It is Tuesday. It's Razor Tuesday.
All right. You're not that vaccinated. You're good.
Crap, I came unprepared.
Uh-oh. You can go get them if you need to.
The only glasses I have, you can actually see my eyes.
Oh, no.
They're not cool enough.
No, that's real, right?
It's the anti-razor glasses.
What's going on here? Gotta get something going. At least get some of those bad, like streamlined '90s sunglasses.
I got some aviators, but they're downstairs. Sorry.
You can go get them. It's okay if you want to. No rush. No big deal. We'll just sit here and wait and stare at the screen. No big deal at all. But look, we're
Greg's like, no, it's all right. Anything that takes you far, far away.
No, not at all.
Yikes.
Not at
He's
all.
just mad because Kara's been stalking him in the kitchen. It's fine.
That's not supposed to be public.
Ooh.
I don't appreciate that, Blabs.
Look at
We don't need Razor to know. Get out of here, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Get her.
Oh, hi, Mark.
No.
Well, look, we have a great show today. We have a lot to talk about. The video game industry is crashing right before our eyes. We have Snow White and Disney news, which is interesting. We are going to dig straight on in to community managers with Kara joining us. Golly, we have so much to go off today. But with that said, I'd like to remind you guys, we are live over at rumble.com/sidescrollers. Join us over there. Over 7,000 wonderful common sense lovers. And why do we like Rumble, Blabs?
It grows organically.
That's right. We also have an X account where you can have found out that Razor and Kara were going to be on the show. If you just follow us over there at SideScrollerPod. We also have an Instagram account, don't we, Blabs?
Yes, so follow us for memes and clips of the show. Otherwise, one of these guys below me is going to do some type of violence act upon you in Power World.
Okay. All right. You know what?
What is the Instagram account? Is it just photos of Craig at the gym with this?
Actually, it was a photo of Craig dressed as a Snow White the other day.
Oh yeah.
Very well.
That's
that
cool.
seems to be
I
what like
actually saw
90% of Instagram accounts are.
It's funny thing about Instagram. For some reason, there's a huge trend about people doing like NPCs from video games. So like pretending that they're like in Grand Theft Auto or Skyrim, and they're really walking. And it's even bigger than it was like 6 months ago. Like that's all I'm seeing. And actually, they're really good. Some of these people. It's kind of weird.
I just remember that one dude that did the Skyrim ones, and then didn't he get arrested for murder?
What?
No. What?
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 Who?
Hold on. I'm fairly certain there was a guy that did like the Skyrim NPC stuff, and he like did it like a double homicide, like his girlfriend and her best friend.
I guess he didn't
What
like
are you,
that.
Angela Lansbury? You're like,
Murder she wrote.
what is this?
Wow. Okay.
Hold on. Okay, now I gotta look.
Well, I can
Skyrim.
promise you. While Kara looks for that, you will not find double homicides on our Instagram at any time or NPC accounts, which is, well, maybe you will. I don't know. Maybe we'll do an NPC stream one day.
Can you do it? Seriously, can you do like a locals only NPC account? And you just drink your water and be like, thank you.
Tastes so good.
This is nice.
I shared the link. Sadly, it's Kotaku, but I shared the link.
Oh
All
my
right,
gosh.
I got you.
He's terrifying. What is that? Why? No. Why are his eyes like that?
Let's see what we got here. Skyrim IRL TikTok star arrested, charged with murdering his wife and her friend. Yeah, I couldn't tell you this guy wasn't going to go murder somebody.
No kidding.
Look at his eyes. He looks like he belongs in an episode of Doctor Who.
God. Why? Because his eyes are black? Is that why, Blabs?
No, he has no eyes. Look at them.
I know. I'm just kidding. Wow.
Ali Nassar Nabul Naban? What in the world is...
AK Jin Kid?
She didn't return his magic carpet and he got real mad. I don't know what.
So bad.
I don't...
Wow. Well, Kara, thanks for bringing that to us today. That's great.
Oh my God.
Imagine him just bursting in like, I will show you the world.
God, that's rough. Anyway,
Be careful.
If you read it, it was like because he thought he heard his wife with another man, so he shot them. And then he picked up his 5-year-old daughter from school.
Oh,
wow.
That's not weird at all.
It was brutal. I remember hearing about that.
That poor kid.
Yikes. Okay.
Somebody in the chat. Somebody in the chat said sanest Bethesda fan. It's probably true.
Just saying, you will not find that on our Instagram at all. Guarantee. With that said, you may find it over on our Kick account at kick.com/sidescrollers.
Yeah, it's allowed there.
Or you certainly won't find that over on the Apple Podcast version of the show, which is only the audio version. So if you are going to hear any sort of double murders, it would be the audio version of it. It's just a gunshot and a couple thumps, but whatever. Anyways, find us over on Apple Podcasts. You can also find us over at locals at sidescrollers.locals.com, where we're going to be doing another movie watch along this month. It's going to be Blabs watching. What are you watching again?
I don't remember. Is it Step It Up?
No.
Bring It On?
Bring it on.
Yeah.
Kara,
have you never seen those?
No.
I guess that answers your question, Craig. Yes, I have seen those.
That's okay. If you go back and watch those, which I actually did watch the first one probably 2 months ago, there are moments in that where you're going to go, oh, no. Geez, there's some things that are said in that where you're like, oh wow, okay, and I'm be interested to see how Blabs reacts to that.
I've been on my on a weekly basis. I've been watching some like older classic or just like iconic movies.
I know,
and it's been a lot.
Are you suggesting Bring It On as a classic iconic movie?
No, I am absolutely not. I've been watching stuff like The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
And what else have I watched? I watched Demolition Man,
the 9/11 footage, and
I watched the all-time classic Face Off recently.
Oh, that's a classic.
Yes.
What'd you think?
It was a movie.
All right.
It was a very interesting movie. Demolition Man is probably my favorite. And I finally watched, I know it's not that old, but I finally watched Tropic Thunder as well.
Oh, okay.
It was funny.
So
Well,
I still have not seen that.
You
I know,
should. You'd like it.
It's so racist. I should have watched. I feel like I
Yes.
should have watched it.
yeah, it's over the top for sure. Well, I'd say it may not be that old, but in the realm of comedy movies, it's ancient because there's no way a movie like that would be made today.
Yeah. If it were a person, Biden wouldn't sniff it.
No, not at all. That's not accurate. Hey, if you're new over here on YouTube, join us at over 80,111 subscribers here. Let's do our best to get to 800 likes and our goal of 25 memberships every single stream, which is great. A quick reminder that every single month this year, we will have a brand new piece of merchandise coming at your face. This month, it's all dedicated to Blabs. You guys know that we sing karaoke on the show whenever there's a big old donation. Well, we have opened the Blabs the Tower Tard karaoke store, and you can get a Blabs the Tower Tard bucket hat on the right-hand side of the screen, or a T-shirt if you'd like to support Blabs in that way with the Blabs the Tower Tard Super Happy Fun Spectacular karaoke shirt. So you can go pick that up. The link is in the description. They're available only this month or until they're gone. The bucket hat was a request by Blabs, so go pick it up right now. There you go.
Bucket hats are supreme, okay? So
bucket hats are supreme.
yes.
Okay, sounds
You heard
good.
it here first.
somewhere.
Razor's like, I don't own one. So
Big
then-
shocker. I have a Pikachu one here somewhere.
Yeah, and you got
love
new
it.
merchandise. Carrie, you got new merchandise too. I saw that.
I do. This is actually one of them. This is through Streamlabs as well, which is the people you go through.
Yeah.
And it's good merch. Like this is one of like their embroidered ones
Yeah.
that they do.
Uh-huh.
So I go get their merch. You're gonna like it. I
Yeah.
got this and but yes, I've got new merch of my very creepy Pikachu.
I
This
love
is
it.
the Pikachu that creeps into Razor's window.
That's
It's
not.
this is all you see.
That's
Why
not-
do you think I picked a black hoodie?
I'm changing all of my alarm codes. All right.
It's okay, I'll figure them out.
She watched you install them.
You're right.
Well, we got a
No,
lot
it's like Spaceballs. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Or 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
One of those two.
Yes.
Right off the bat, we have a great start as Vimarain came in and says, R.I.P. Bernard Hill. I go to my fathers, and even in their mighty company, I shall not now be ashamed. There you go.
Well, yeah, because he wasn't in The Hobbit.
Facts. Don't watch
Also-
The Hobbit, Craig.
Don't watch The Hobbit. Oh, okay.
No, they're really not bad. They're just
They're not.
The third one's pretty bad, actually. Never mind. I take that back.
But the first one was enjoyable.
They're
the
not like
first
the
and
original.
second one were both pretty good. Yeah, they just couldn't have dragged that out more. It was like an old man looking for an address. Like it would not get going. You could tell it was one book just extended out into 3.
Mm-hmm.
I read the book in freshman year. The first line is, there once was a hobbit who lived in a hole.
Well, I'll tell you this, as probably the most preeminent Lord of the Rings fan here, with my vast knowledge of Lord of the Rings, I would say that I look forward to one day venturing back into the Shire with the Hobbit movies, I suppose. Oh, yeah, okay.
Actually-
I guess,
Ooh.
I guess
This was actually a birthday present from one of my community members this year.
You know, I
Was,
managed to get the leather bound of the complete Lord of the Rings.
You
Nice.
guys want to see some relics? Is my original editions.
I don't
Um,
have the only one I have an original edition of is the Silmarillion. I got that. My mom gave it to me. She got it in college when it first came out.
These are from like the 70s or the 80s.
Yeah.
wow.
So before I was born.
You could probably
70s.
sell those for like $5.
Thanks, Craig.
Maybe $1. Buy that for $1.
Yeah, put a price on nostalgia.
That's right. Nostalgia's a powerful bitch. And that's true.
She was trying to drop a sick RoboCop reference, and you guys just talked all over it. Brutal.
Oh, sorry,
What?
Okay. It's
I
okay.
missed the RoboCop reference. My
It's
bad.
okay.
He's
Vlad,
never
real
coming
quick.
back ever again.
Have you seen
No.
RoboCop, Blabs?
No.
Okay, that's on the blind spot list for Blabs for sure.
Oh, yeah.
We need to get Blabs to watch RoboCop. Dan came in with the 50 Swedish monies. Thanks, Dan. Says so Xbox is releasing a new controller on their news site using the headline "Feel the Burn" today. Excellent timing on that one, Microsoft. Yeah,
I gotta look at that.
Yikes.
yeah, I saw that. That was
More layoffs in the marketing department, hopefully.
Yeah. Black Metal Gamer says indies and middle market is what's relevant right now. We're definitely going to dig into Xbox for sure. Emperor Creatine came in and says, couldn't help but notice Razor's Helldivers 2 rant was 9 minutes and 11 seconds long. Something you need to tell us, Razor?
Sorry.
Oh, no.
What?
Translate it.
What?
Wow. Max came in and says, Microsoft layoffs are a market correction, not a tragedy. We're definitely, like I said, that's going to be a big topic of today's show. Ian came in and says, I like the video game meme vids of what in real life had loading screens, or what if real life had loading screens. I haven't seen that one, Ian. Thanks.
There's a lot of those. Yeah.
It's good stuff. Dr. Martin Luther Pepe came in with the $10 direct donation. Says, finally able to catch you live and with my favorite person of noir on the show to boot. Hail Craig, hail Razor, hail Kara, and Blabs there too. Godspeed. That's not where I thought that direct donation message was going to go, but thank you very much for that. Really appreciate that. It's very nice. John came in, says RoboCop is required viewing, and RoboCop 2 isn't far behind. Thank you, John. Appreciate that greatly.
What about RoboCop 3? Cyborg ninjas. Like, what are you? Come on.
He has jets
Underrated.
as well. Yeah, doesn't he? He flies in that one. A big deal.
Yeah, a friend of mine, one of his family members was almost cast as RoboCop in that movie.
Really?
He was like one of the last people that they called. I guess they wound up going with whoever the guy was that they wound up going with. I forget his name even.
Did you guys like who's the? We all know somebody who was cast or almost cast in a movie, right? Do you guys have, like, for me, it was when I was in 7th grade, it was a friend of a friend who was Carp in Mighty Ducks. And you like, and it's one of those things where you're like, oh yeah, I knew a guy who knew a guy who was in Carp in the original Mighty Ducks. Do you guys
for the ladies, Mighty Ducks is basically just bring it on.
I've seen Mighty Ducks.
I've seen it, and it's a good movie.
Have you seen the cartoon though?
Yes.
It was a great cartoon.
DuckTales?
No, Mighty Ducks. They turned oh hey, we're gonna do Mighty Ducks the series. Is it gonna be about a hockey team? No, let's make it about a team of superheroes.
Yep.
Superhero ducks. I don't know. It works though. I love that show.
But it works.
It does.
Works.
The only person
Unlike a lot of people at Xbox today.
Oh no. Oh God. All right. Well, let's get into all that good stuff. I love it.
You like that transition?
Feel it when I'll accept.
Hey, Blabs, check it out. Yumi in the movies picked up the Blabs karaoke bar t-shirt just with the message.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thanks, Eric.
Appreciate that. Once again, we'll get to every single Rumble rant, Super Chat, and direct donation as we go along on the show. Thank you very much. But right now, it's time for Blabs to take us into today in gaming history. What do we got?
All right, guys. So May 7th. Not a whole lot of games that I know, but then again, what do I know? So Palamedes 2 Star Twinkles was released in 1991, 33 years old. You have Raiden Fighter Aces, which is 15 years old, being released back in 2009. I thought this one was great for Craig. Arcade 1-Up, the Mortal Kombat release 5 years ago in 2019. Now, I know Craig loves the Arcade 1-Up, don't you, Craig?
I have one. I actually had several. I have 3 of them, actually. I got a, let's see, I got a Pac-Man, I got a Street Fighter, and I got my NBA Jam one right over here. Look at you. See, yeah, I think Arcade 1-Up made the arcade game, like, there was a lot of momentum around that, the Arcade 1-Ups when they first launched. And they've had some struggles along the way, but, if you're like, oh, yeah, there have been people who have been very critical of Arcade 1-Up.
What about your Best Buy story?
Well, yeah, so I bought NFL Blitz, and I was very critical of that machine. That was like NFL Blitz is one of my favorite games ever, and you can tell they make tiny little changes to the game that make a big difference, and that's what happened. So I built this giant machine, took me 3 hours to do, and then I played it. It sucked. So I then just brought it all back to Best Buy and was like, take this back. And they're like, okay. So it was like $600. So I'd rather have $600 than the NFL Blitz one. But either way, rough stuff. And I'll tell you this, though, the game that right here, that the Raiden Fighters, Raiden is a really good shooting, like shmup style game. So, but I don't know what Palamedes is.
You know neither do I, but it looked adorable.
You know where I first played Raiden at?
Arcade?
My dentist's office.
Oh, shit.
Your dentist's waiting room had video games?
Freaking Donkey Kong
That's awesome.
and Raiden.
Awesome.
And yeah, it was
Can I go there
banging.
now? Is he still in business?
Right? Yeah, he's actually the dentist for the Phoenix Suns.
Let's go. That's why you can afford Raiden in his
Right.
Wow, that's crazy. Hey, quick reminder that Today in Gaming History is brought to you by our friends over at Zydax PCs. If you guys are in the market for a PC and you're considering picking one up, you want to get a customized one or a pre-built one, Zydax will definitely hook you up. Definitely go over there and check it out. Link is in the description. They have a lifetime warranty on parts and labor. That means if you have a GPU with a manufacturer warranty of 1 year, it blows up at month 13 and beyond, guess what? You're 100% covered. And on top of that, they are all hand-built in Salt Lake City, Utah, and with U.S.-only tech support. We're big fans of that. So hopefully, if you're in the market for a Zydax PCs, go check one out. They make it look pretty like you see on the screen. Appreciate them. All right, let's get into it. It's time for my favorite segment, your favorite segment, everybody in the world's favorite segment. It's time for Hard News. All right, as always, we like to start with some quick hits, and Blab says, my God, we have to start with this quick hit. We've talked Star Wars on the show several times, and we've talked Jar Jar Binks on the show several times. Kara, Razy, your thoughts on Jar Jar Binks?
Very annoying.
But Misa no have a boomer.
Hey.
I'm not a big Jar Jar hater. I thought he was fine. I think he looks kind of. No one ever mentions. I think he looks cool. I always thought he looked cool. Like when they first revealed his design, I thought it was a cool alien design. So
I will admit it's been at least a decade since I've watched the prequels, so I don't remember them. I just remember hating his voice.
Right, and now that's kind of the thing with Jar Jar Binks. I think Razor nailed it. I don't even want to try to do a Jar Jar Binks impression. But what's interesting is there's always been this thought that Jar Jar Binks apparently is like this Darth, like evil
Sith Lord,
right? I don't know. Kara, the last time I saw the prequels was 25 years ago. So
he voted the Emperor into power. Like objectively, he's like one of the most evil people in the universe. It's true.
Well, for some reason, he gets all the babes. It's weird.
Well, now you can see him with the new Lego Star Wars special features, Darth Jar Jar.
Yay!
Is this the first time this has happened, Labs?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, you can always do like the mods and all that. But yes, so there's like this little mini series coming out on Disney Plus, and one of the features is that's gonna be Darth Jar Jar. I mean, come on, that's kind of
would
fun.
actually be kind of cool.
That'd be so fun. I would play as that. If they ever released that like as a character, I would totally play.
I remember I played all the Lego Star Wars games. Not
Did you
like
play the one
not the Rey ones, but I played all of the older ones.
The OG, the cool stuff. Yeah, those are great.
Well, now you can. So this is gonna be in a show, correct, Black?
Yeah, it's gonna be like in some Galaxy build, whatever it's called, little mini show. It's like a 4-parter mini show. They're a couple minutes each. They're actually pretty cute. They're probably like the nicest stuff Disney actually does with Star Wars because they're very cute Lego kind of thing for kids. So for your kids out there, guys, and if you have Disney Plus, give it a try.
How was since we're talking Star Wars, I watched that first season of the Visions. I think that they had done.
Mm-hmm.
Did anyone watch the second season that came out?
No. It was I saw like bits and pieces of the Visions one, and it's basically, Craig, if you don't know, Visions was like anime Star Wars. It's not canon. It's just these random stories all over the place.
Like the first episode was a black and white samurai Jedi type character.
Yeah.
And it was actually really cool. Like I'd love to see a full run of that character. Like they had like a bunch of different like animation studios. Like Studio Trigger was part of it. I think Mappa was a part of it. Like there was some really good ones. Yes, but I didn't ever watch the second season because I got rid of Disney Plus.
About it. To be fair, I think that one just kind of like went under the radar. I don't think anyone even talked about it. I don't,
because we're all so burnt by Disney right now.
Yeah, like even the guys that I know who review Star Wars still, like Raging Rhino, I don't remember him saying a peep about it. So I guess no one really watched it at all.
Does this get you excited? The idea of having Darth Jar Jar?
I think it's cool, Craig.
I mean, would it? But I mean, Kara's talking about being burnt by Disney, right? And feeling really just beaten down by their decision making. Does this make you go, maybe I'll?
No, Star Wars is going to have to be dormant for years and years and years and years and years before anyone will care again. And they don't know that. I honestly don't think Disney realized that at this point. I really don't.
Actually, they kind of do, which will be leading to our next topic. But yeah, just remember it's a nice transition. But I have a soft spot for Lego Star Wars since that was my childhood. So Lego Star Wars is just like, oh, I love it, but I won't.
The games are great. I love them.
Well,
they're so fun. The Lego games in general are fantastic.
Yeah,
I played all of the like the Jurassic Park ones. Those were great.
Yeah, I would 100% every single Lego video game I own, except for the latest Star Wars one that came out in 2022. I could not finish it, sadly. It was so soulless compared to all the other ones. Yeah. After I got into the sequels, I was like, I can't play this game anymore. This is boring. I don't give a shit about the sequels. So
I will say Darth Jar Jar is not enough for me to reinstate my Disney Plus.
No, definitely not. If you have it or Sailing the Seas, the pirate life is for you. Let us know how it is.
Yo ho ho.
Yo ho ho. Labs, you're referencing staying with Star Wars. What are you talking about?
Oh, well, so in this ties into Snow White. We were talking about how Bob Iger is now saying that there's going to be less movies per year and less shows per year. So they're scaling back on everything, and that includes Star Wars, which is what Razor was saying. Like, it needs to be dormant, and they're actually scaling back now. Is it going to be dormant, like you say? Not exactly. But they didn't even mention Snow White for 2025 release. They were talking about MCU. They were talking about Toy Story and some another Pixar movie. But no Snow White.
Three movies per year is still way too many.
No, it is too many.
For superhero movies, man, if they dialed it back to just a really big character movie once per year, they would start making money again, and it might actually get a little more healthy, honestly. But this 3 a year, no. I remember hearing that they were going to do 3 a year and thinking, oh, this is the beginning of the end in a lot of ways. And I was right, by the way. I made a video at the time basically saying, yeah, you're going to make a lot of money for a little while, but this will eventually burn itself out.
Mm-hmm.
And
I was right.
Well, and on top of that, the other big one, as Blabs referenced, was Snow White. That's been the big talking point for a while. Snow White and the
seven little people.
And the incredibly diverse 7 little people.
Yes!
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Snow White and the Planeteers.
Well, apparently that was not mentioned. That was originally delayed. It was supposed to be released in 2024. And then Daily Wire came out. They dropped their like Snow White thing. And Disney was like, oh, shit. So they said, hey, we're going to delay this till 2025. Now, apparently, it's not even on the slate for 2025, which is crazy, as he did not mention Snow White being among the 2025 releases. So he mentioned
the MCU, and like I said, he mentioned like Toy Story coming up, ideas for that, but no Snow White. Maybe it was just because he just wasn't talking about that. He was specifically talking about the MCU and Pixar. But yeah, weird.
The level of interest for for just Disney as a whole. I mean, have you ever seen something so dramatic? Create a company that was so intertwined with society to where people have just been turned off so much by it. I can't recall any company in my lifetime being like this. It's such a people have such a negative connotation around Disney after the last several years. It's mind-blowing.
It's not even almost the same company, right?
Yes,
They're completely severed from their legacy. If Walt Disney were alive, he would open fire, right? It's not even he would ascend a bell tower and rain righteous judgment on the employees of Disney. I don't think people appreciate this. This is a guy who testified before Congress as to communist unions who were trying to take over his studios. And today Disney cucks out to communist China and removes black people from their movie posters in Chinese territories. Like, this is Disney does not even bear a passing resemblance to who they used to be.
Can you guys separate that? Can you separate new Disney from old Disney? Like, mentally, you can?
Yeah.
Kara, do you allow yourself to go back and watch some of the classics? You go back and watch The Little Mermaid or whatever? Yeah. Cool.
That's you muted, Kara.
Of course I am. Yes, I definitely can separate it. I mean, it's like that with like, it's okay sometimes to separate the art from the artist. And sadly, you're having to see that and do that more and more. But it's still good to appreciate the good things that they've accomplished. I don't think that you should necessarily nix any of the accomplishments that they've had. Like, Disney set the standard for animation back in the day. They're the reason that we have what we have today in a lot of aspects. And so I think it is still good to appreciate and to celebrate the awesome accomplishments that they were able to make happen.
Rifleman says, remember the company removed Walt from their name. That's pretty jacked up.
It's good. It's reflective of who they are. They're not the Walt Disney Corporation at all.
It's true.
Right.
You gotta wonder
Accurate.
for like Star Wars Episode 2 when it was released back in like 2002, because it had Mace Windu, Samuel Jackson, a black man on it. Now he wasn't prominent like Finn was, but you gotta wonder what China did with those posters if they like altered it.
Well,
Which I don't think they did.
Yeah, that was 20th Century Fox, so
yeah, I know. Like, that's what I'm wondering. Like, did China
anything.
react differently with like Disney and all
Well,
that?
and plus that was a time when American corporations and Hollywood weren't filleting China quite as hard as they are today. Today they try and make their money back in China, which doesn't really work, but they try. They give it the old community college try, anyways.
And by community college, no, I'm not even going to go over college tries based off what's happening right now. Let's move on to Helldivers.
We're going to beat them with a nightstick. What? Anyway,
not even gonna go there. All right, let's go to Helldivers, because Helldivers is fun, and there's a mod that's being passed around on the internet right now. A little clip of a mod which is spectacular. Kara, have you played any Helldivers?
Oh my gosh, yes, I love Helldivers.
Yes. What do you love most about it?
Friendly fire.
Do you love that you can
like Craig in a public restroom?
Laying all over the place. Oh, there you go.
Oh no!
Sorry, bro. So there's this mod being tossed around, and at first I watched it, and I really only caught one thing until I looked at it again and noticed that this is Buzz Lightyear.
Oh no!
Oh yes!
Catch the characters who are in this mod here.
Thomas the Tank Engine! Oh, run! That's so good.
We have Master Chief over here running around.
He's coming. Captain, get down! Run!
No!
Watch out, boy. Oh, he looks
Skyrim all over
We're
again.
gonna get molested by Thomas the Tank Engine. Why has he got that? Hey, Mr. Thomas, it's all I used to play with you as a kid, mate. Don't hurt us. Oh, shit!
Okay, so Thomas is obviously the Chargers.
Uh-huh.
Those will mess you up. But oh my gosh,
It's
Buzz,
just old school gaming, just the guys having fun. I love that.
It's a shame every time I'm reminded that Australians exist.
Some people don't think Australia does exist, Razor.
Least of all Australians, yes.
They live in imaginary places.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, anyways, that's always fun to see. It's always great to see fun mods like that, and you know, that's what makes gaming great. Being able, like, those mods are so much fun, and the camaraderie associated with it.
And now I want to play more Helldivers, especially after everything that happened this week.
That's right.
This made me laugh. To democracy and beyond.
To democracy and beyond.
Who here has been playing Helldivers?
I mean, I have, but not recently.
I mean, I actually tried to get it refunded.
Oh, you didn't like it that much?
No. I liked it, but I had it refunded based off of all the nonsense that was happening over the weekend with
I
Sony.
uninstalled mine, so
yeah.
it's still uninstalled.
I play the crap out of EDF, which is basically the same game.
Right.
I've never played Helldivers.
Yes.
I love Helldivers. It's fun.
It is a fun game.
It is.
Especially with friends.
Chaos.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Like we play every Sunday usually with our Sunday Funday crew. So it's like me as X-Ray and Quarter Black Garrett. We all play on Sundays.
Speaking of Quarter Black, I'm going to be on their show tomorrow. Normal World. Yeah, I'm going to go.
Nice.
Yeah, that'll be great. Looking forward to that. So be good. Tell you what's not good as we move into some really important video game stuff, because we got to spend some time talking about community managers with Kara here in just a little bit, but it is important that we talk about what's going on in the video game industry. And let's start with a story from a couple weeks ago. Razor, I believe last time you were on, maybe a couple times ago, we talked about PokemonGo avatars and the kind of the rework of that, and how some of these PokemonGo avatars have people have not been happy with the new look of the PokemonGo avatars, and there have been results from people's unhappiness. But wouldn't you know it, that the game studio that designed the new PokemonGo avatars have been hit with layoffs almost immediately after releasing the new avatars.
Pokemon Go to bankruptcy court. Good times.
Which is not. This has been a regular occurrence in the video game industry. Has been layoffs. As we have this quick hit here, which, you know, interesting. Some would say karma, as some, you know, as 117 Hasio came in with that. But the layoffs continue, and this leads us to today's story. The video game industry is in free fall chaos right now after just years of bloat and poor performance from an overabundance of crap that has been released. Major budgets, $100 million, $200 million games that have to make hundreds and 2 million to make, you know, millions, tens of millions of dollars just to break even, right? Which leads us to today. And that is Microsoft closing Redfall developer Arcane Austin, Hi-Fi Rush developer Tango Gameworks, and more, in devastating cuts at Bethesda, as our article from IGN says. Email.
Whatever will we do without the studio that gave us Redfall? I mean, after we're done skipping through a dewy meadow, I mean, yeah. I don't know. I played that live on stream, and it started out as a normal Razorfist arcade, and it turned into a let's mock Redfall stream by the end. To the point where I literally changed the title of the stream halfway through. It was that bad. I remember one specific instance where I'm like walking next to a boat. That's right, because there's like capsized boats that are up on land, and the boats obviously have their names written on the side. And I'm like maybe a foot from it, and the texture of the name of the boat hasn't loaded in.
Oh, no.
It's like big and blurry, and I'm like, oh, that'll load in any minute now. So I'm answering a super chat question while I'm doing. It's not loading in. It's not loading in. It's not. A minute's going by. 2 minutes are going by. There's video of this. Like it took like 2 full minutes for one of these freaking Textures to load it. That game was just a festering pile.
Well, this has been announced, and as we mentioned a few minutes ago during the quick hits, this controller was also released today, the same day that they let go all these people. The Microsoft Feel the Burn today with a Fire Vapor Special Edition controller.
Vaporware, I think, actually.
Yes.
I love it. I'm not gonna lie. That
It
looks
is cool,
so
actually.
So, kind of tone deaf.
Yes, very.
I think it's just really bad timing.
Yeah.
Right.
Extremely bad timing.
I don't know if the marketing department and the PR, the HR department were lined up with the two announcements of that for sure.
Yeah.
But there have been multiple.
So who all got shut down? Arcane Austin.
Yes.
Who
Arcane
I've said many times, I know they have lots of fans. I consider them the archons of overrated. They have made precisely one game that actually sold. That game was called Dishonored, and it didn't even sell that well. Then they did all the sequels. None of those sold. They did Prey, the most overrated game of the last 10 years. And people seem to love it, but again, it didn't sell. They haven't made anything that sells apart from the first Dishonored. And again, it was middling successful. It wasn't, whatever. But that's not surprising to me, honest. But who else?
So in addition to Arcane, as you mentioned, there are three other: Tango Gameworks, Alpha Dog Studios, and Roadhouse Studios. Now,
Roundhouse.
I'm sorry. Here's Tango Gameworks right here. Tango Gameworks did the Evil Within series, Ghostwire Tokyo, and Hi-Fi Rush, which Hi-Fi Rush, I don't think performed very well. I think that was a Game Pass release, I believe. It was Game Pass,
but everything I heard about it was very positive.
Okay.
It was just a very unique take. I know it. I'm fairly certain it won a lot of awards at the last. I mean, that doesn't really mean a whole lot,
right.
But doesn't mean a whole lot. But it was a pretty unanimously positive.
I would remind you all that Death Stranding was up for Game of the Year one year. Let's just. It is what it is.
A massive walking simulator with babies. Yeah. By the way, this is a note from Tango Gameworks. They just tweeted this out. It says, today was announced that Tango Gameworks will close. Thank you to everyone who explored the worlds we created. Hi-Fi Rush, along with Tango's previous titles, will remain available and playable everywhere they are today. So, people have responded to that, both positively and negatively. We also mentioned the... another company, Arcane Studios, with their list of games that they put out. Mentioned Dishonored, Wolfenstein, and as well as Alpha Dog Studios, and they released. I'm not familiar with Mighty Doom. This looks like mobile games. Blabs, is this right?
Yeah, that entire Alpha Games is a mobile gaming company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Out of Canada.
They were gobbled up by Bethesda in 2019, or by ZeniMax in 2019.
Yeah.
See, I'm looking at these.
It says it right up there.
I'm looking at these, and it's like most of these companies seem like they're artifacts from a bygone era when Bethesda was expanding because their games were actually good.
Right.
Right. Now Todd Howard's head is expanding, but that's about it. Like Bethesda has kind of been on a downslide for 3 straight games. Like I said on social media, the true injustice here is that none of these studios made Starfield or Fallout 76, right? Those are the people who need to go out of business. But that's kind of what it feels like to me. It's just like leftover. They expanded too much when Bethesda were trying to be a AAA kind of publisher, remember, for a minute there? And that didn't really work out very well.
Well, there's a human element to this as well. And this is the studio and co-creative director at Arcane who came in with this post over on X. Says, this is absolutely terrible. Permission to be human. To any executive reading this, friendly reminder that video games are an entertainment/cultural industry, and your business as a corporation is to take care of your artists/entertainers and help them create value for you. Don't throw us into gold fever gambits. Don't use us as straw man for miscalculation and blind spots. Don't make our work environments Darwinist jungles. You say we make you proud when we make a good game. Make us proud when times are tough. We know you can. We've seen it before. For now, great teams are sunsetting before our eyes again, and it's a fucking gut stab. Leon is safe. I guess it's Leon. But please be tactical and discerning about this, and respect affected folks' voice, and leave it room to be heard. It's their story to tell, their feelings to express. Inside baseball, a little inside story here. But if I read immersive sim curse from the community, especially from a fellow dev, I swear to God, please talk about the real challenges instead of rehashing irrational anxieties of the past. Even more inside baseball, with a very, very wide range. As a wise and sorely missed man said, please stop.
Sorry. All I'm hearing here is I made Redfall. Like, that's all I can hear in this wall of bro, you made a bad game. You made several bad games in rapid succession. And stop using the word immersive sim. It means exactly nothing. Jesus Christ. I hate that term. It's like, could I just engineer a term that is more guaranteed to make me not sell any copies of my video game? Like, what does immersive sim mean? Isn't any kind of game supposed to be immersive? And if it's hardcore kind of game, isn't it supposed to simulate things anyways? Like, immersive sim could mean literally anything.
Right. What's interesting about this is you see, I saw this post, which was, always fascinating to see kind of companies talk out both sides of their mouth here. This is from over on X. Is remember when Microsoft said this? Well, it's bullshit. And this was Microsoft pleased with Hi-Fi Rush success, plans to reinvest in Tango Gameworks. This is from less than a year ago, August 2023. And today, they're closed. So something happened. Something happened along the way. And I think this speaks to, obviously, a much larger issue when it comes to the video game industry as a whole. I mean, we're talking about, entire companies with hundreds of people that are losing their jobs on a, month-to-month, day-to-day basis. And there is, I go back to, and I said this before, I think that the video game industry is in the middle of a crash in a major way. And I had Blabs take a look at the video game crash of '83. And for those who don't know, that was like the first big crash of the video game space. Yeah. And Blabs, had you ever heard of the video game crash of 1983 before I asked you to look
I've heard about it multiple times. I've just never actually really dug into it like I did this morning. But it was also called the Atari Shock in Japan. Fun fact.
Okay.
Right.
So,
yeah, the weird thing about it was like, yeah, Atari crashed, but not everything did. Home computing still did relatively well. I think that's one of the reasons people are so reticent to actually admit, like, I made several videos. I believe and still believe that in 2008 we had another gaming crash. But I don't think it's because, like, it's not some hyperbolic statement. You can have a crash and still have an industry, right? When the initial gaming crash happened, like Commodore 64 and stuff, those were really successful at the time, even though Atari just fell off a cliff, right? And then ultimately Nintendo kind of saved the day. So that's a feature, right? That's something that generally happens whenever you have a crash. But I agree, it definitely feels like it's headed down the other side of the mountain.
Well, when it comes to just the video game crash of '83, 97% of the home video game market crashed. It went from $3.2 billion in revenue in 1983 to about $100 million in revenue in 2 years. 97%. I don't think that's going to happen now, right?
No.
We're certainly not going to see a 97% drop. But if we saw a 30% drop, but the bigger aspect of this is the amount of people that are losing their jobs, and this definitely has to do with the response to COVID. These were, whether people like to admit it or not, there was an immense push to hire as fast and as quickly as possible during COVID because there was a giant boom. Money was being put into, and this goes back to, we talked about this with Alexi, the former manager over at over at Epic, he talked about how there was an influx of money during COVID because there was a lot of people that saw the opportunities associated with it. And people were staying home. We got to develop these games as fast as we can. We're getting them out there. We're going to hire as much as we can. All of a sudden, after 3-4 years, these positions are voiding. They don't need these people anymore. So, and they don't need entire arms of their company anymore because of it. And I think that's what you're seeing right here is a definitely a reaction to the inflation of the industry in a major way. So,
Bethesda had no business trying to be a publisher. They just were never gonna be a publisher. Microsoft bought them when they were still pretending they could be a publisher, and they're just not. They're a developer. When they're actually making good games, they're a pretty good one. But you got to kind of stay in your lane. What is it? The old Dirty Harry line in Magnum Force. Man's got to know his limitations.
Well, you're right. You're right. But I tweeted this out that I thought we were headed towards that way. And this guy, One-Eyed Jack Gaming over on X, said this perfectly. He says, think about what we've endured the past 10 years. Microtransactions, botched releases, broken promises, transparent lies, GG1, GG2, and political grandstanding, right? And the amount of just insanity that's happened in the video game space is just in the last decade. I think this is the business impact of all that stuff for the first time. And people are, you see the plea from the studio heads, like this is real life. This is, these are real people, it's like, yeah, I get it, but your games didn't sell. So there's that. And it's
game industry, not game welfare.
Right.
You have to make games that people want to buy. Nobody wanted to buy Redfall. It was bad. Nobody wanted to buy Dishonored 2. Dishonored 2 was good in places, but it wasn't as good as the first one. And Prey, I mean, people will debate on it, but it was poorly marketed. And what was that game for? It was just System Shock, but bad, right? They made a bunch of blunders in a row, and that's going to stack up. And eventually you're going to have to pay the freight on that. Bethesda's been losing money like a stripper with a pacemaker scar for a minute and a half. That has just been them for a piping hot minute. Eventually the bill's going to come due.
I want to go back to something this guy said. This is the once again the co-creative director and the studio and creative director over at Arcane, Dinga Bakaba. I feel like this is really like just reading through this again. When I first read this, like, oh God, it says, "Don't make our work environments Darwinist jungles," right? Like, I don't know for a fact, but I'm just saying, I don't think that when you walked into Arcane Studios, you walked in and it was like kill or be killed. And I'm sure they provided a very plush work environment.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just that type of verbiage drives me crazy when people complain about that.
But like, I mean, it's not like they didn't. Okay, they bought Bethesda when? I mean, it was a little over a year ago, maybe 2, something like that. Arcane since then has made 2 games. What is it? Deathloop and Redfall. So 2 games back to back, both flopped. Like flopped hard, bro. It's not like you only got one turn at bat here.
So here's their studio, by the way. Here's Arcane Studios. This doesn't look like it actually looks pretty nice. It looks like an office space. Kara, what's your thoughts on all this?
Sadly, I think it's just the climate that we're in right now. Whenever it comes to gaming, is we're a lot more aware, and I think we're noticing a lot more of like the obvious, well, maybe not obvious to them, of some of the different tones that they're trying to insert into the games. And obviously they're trying to, one, microtransactions. We're all just fed up with microtransactions. We're all getting burnt by it, especially over, like, I mean, we all saw the most recent one with Dragon's Dogma 2, where people got burnt over that. It's just like Razor said, that I do not think Bethesda should have ever been a publisher. They should have stayed in their lane, been a developer that people still trusted, for the most part. I mean, Skyrim is one of the most iconic games of this generation, whether we want to admit it or not. It is. And I think
my
that
graphing calculator runs Skyrim now. Like it's on everything.
that or Doom. I mean, look at Doom.
My toaster
Doom
runs Skyrim.
Let me think of Doom. Like everything runs Doom. Like they have pregnancy tests that run Doom.
Right.
Like it is insane what
does the result look like? What is
They don't tell you the gender of the baby. I'm sorry.
Yes.
They're all non-binary.
That's right.
I just think with content creators such as yourselves that are pointing out a lot of this stuff, the general public and like the normies are starting to become more aware and starting to be a little bit more restrictive with their wallets, especially if they're hearing that a game is trash or at least not entertaining at all. Yeah. And I think that is taking a huge part in why a lot of these companies are going under. And like it's a bittersweet situation because we want good games. We want to be able to trust developers like Bethesda to create another good game. But if they're buying up all these smaller studios that we don't know like what their track record is, we don't know like what type of content they prefer to create is, like I think that plays a huge part in it. And they're trying to invest too much in buying other things instead of investing in the team that they already have and a team that they can depend on. So, and I think that's ultimately going to be their downfall, which we're seeing.
Right.
And some of this was just to fill out Game Pass, right? Which Game Pass was the big Microsoft experiment. It's like, yeah, so were Dr. Mengele's experiments during the Holocaust. You know what I mean? Like, not all experiments end well. But it's like if they can make Game Pass, if they can kind of crack the Game Pass thing, they might have a shot. But I feel like the gobbling up publisher-ish kind of companies like Bethesda was really more about filling out that Game Pass portfolio.
But they don't even need to buy a studio to have Game Pass as a part of, because I'll say it, I love Game Pass. I use Game Pass regularly.
No, it's really, really convenient. It's the best thing Microsoft has going for it by far.
I mean, especially with Game Pass Ultimate, where you get both PC and you get the console games as well. Yep. So in the end, it is a win, and they just need to not purchase studios to try and incorporate it into Game Pass. I think they were trying to do that with Bethesda to get the entire Bethesda game library exclusive to Game Pass as like to be able to stream for free, if you want to call it that.
Right.
And I think that really ended up hurting them in the end. It was just, they should have just licensed the games out. I think, and they were looking at, well, we can pay this lump sum and have them all now, or we can pay a licensing fee throughout the years and continue to have to pay for them. And I think they were looking at that lump sum now versus like the financials in the long run.
Right. That's actually a really, really good point. Plus, they were probably thinking, oh, it's Bethesda. They can do no wrong. Look how many copies Skyrim sold. We'll get more of those. And then Starfield. You know what I mean? Like, it just... they rolled the dice. Sometimes it comes up snake eyes, folks. Sorry.
You know, I would just like to take 1 second to go back and really see what a Darwinist jungle looks like.
Please, let's have a look at this hellscape.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's your Darwinist jungle in the video game space. And I listen, you may want to close your eyes before you watch this. This is pretty terrifying footage from inside Arcane Studios.
Right.
It's tough, guys. And listen, if you can just shield all children's eyes as we watch this, because this is truly tough to watch as they walk through a generic office space plush with wonderful colors and nice all the equipment you need, as well as energy drinks, apparently, which is great.
Oh,
so
man, I think we need like Pavarotti singing Pagliacci here. I think we need just in the background.
Right. I know.
Some like wartime classical music playing, maybe slow-mo effects.
Well, I'm glad we're able to all work our way through that. And
yes.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness for
Support
that.
group is at 11 tomorrow, folks. Don't worry about it.
Good.
That
Lord.
actually looks fairly similar, like vibe as to a developer that I used to work for. It wasn't video games, but it was still gaming. But
How did you make it through, Kara?
Yeah.
I don't know. COVID hit, actually.
For God. Well, look, I'm glad you were brave enough to make your way through it and find your way, survive. Congratulations. You are a true survivor, Kara.
You a survivor.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk to Kara a little bit about all this nonsense.
Yeah, speaking of which.
Yes. So, okay. Kara, you're on for a very specific reason today. I'm beyond excited to have you here. If we can all just slowly move past that last story, it'll be great. But video game community managers have been a very hot topic the last month, 6 weeks. A lot of fingers have been pointed at the video game community managers. Starting specifically earlier this month, we saw some headlines associated with the Star Wars Outlaw community manager, Shauna Jones, who had some not nice things to say about gringos and those white people on numerous social media posts, right? Then it followed up with all the nonsense that's happened the last few days with Helldivers and how they came in, and you'd see comments from community managers really just kind of putting down its player base here, talking about, oh, you need to just create your new account over on Sony. It's so easy, you idiots. And then they, oh crap, we got to kind of take a step back here.
Right.
So we've seen
Didn't
a lot
they also
of
make like false allegations against Grums, like some kind of like you claimed that he had done something or whatever, and apparently that person there you go. Go ahead and read that.
So the moderator, Purple Squidgion, falsely claims that Grums had SA'd many people, and then falsely claimed that I attacked people and their families. And then they currently banned anybody, to the point to where we saw this yesterday with Blabs. If you would just put the name Grums in the Helldivers server, you would be locked out, right, Blabs?
Yeah, you couldn't type it in. It was a banned word.
We saw that yesterday in this whole situation. And it's really kind of put a very bright spotlight on community managers. So with that said, I want to open the floor to Kara and first get your thoughts on all this nonsense that's happened over the last few days, the last month or so. Just your overall thoughts. Let's start here. Describe the role of a community manager to those who don't know.
So a brief TLDR of a community manager is you are the liaison basically between your customer base, your community, and the company. So whether it be the developer, the support team, whatever. If there is an issue, it is your job to be the voice from either side when something needs communicated. One thing that I think a lot of what is the right word? A lot of miscommunication that's going on right now is a lot of community managers that are being called out right now are not paid community managers for a company. They like to call themselves community managers, but basically they're just a Reddit mod or a Discord mod. And there is a difference. They are not the voice to the company. Like, this is somebody who's just like, okay, well, I'm going to make this forum where we can all collab and talk. But that's not a official voice of the company. And I think that's where a lot of misrepresentation for community managers is getting directed towards, are those particular individuals who do not have the authority to make statements for the company, to make decisions, or to address the community with decisions, anything like that. I think that is a big thing. You are not a representation of the company. and I think that there are a lot that are out there that Grums has been pointing out that maybe aren't the most politically correct individuals on the internet, but it's just for community managers, like a majority of your job is scoping out what the community is saying. Your job is to take that information, compile it into a format to provide to the company. And if the company has a response, it is your job to word that in a way that best that is the best tone of the company tone. Like, you do not have your own personal tone when relaying information from the company to the community. But I think that is a lot of it. Go ahead.
So in a situation like that, if you're serving as more or less the middleman between the community and the company, have you seen instances, or are there instances, I feel like there have been instances where certain information may be left out to fit your personal narrative as a person? You think that's a common theme, or is that something that has happened or that you are aware of or know of?
I will be honest, I personally have not been, I haven't been paying a whole lot of attention to other community managers in the space. I have, like, ever since I was let go of LRG, I kind of just distanced myself, just because I never really was one that was a integrated part of the community manager sphere. I knew of people, and I do think it's because I was a lot less progressive than others in the space who were a little bit more vocal about their personal beliefs and not the beliefs of the company. And I think that's where a lot of the animosity is coming from. Is it's understandable to not enjoy it. And sorry, I'm trying to think of, like, the best way to word this. But
Well, do you feel that
I have a few 4-letter words I can help you throw in there.
Go for it. I want to hear one. Do it. Put you on the spot. Do it.
No, that's all right. We just did the BattleTech episode where we talked about one community manager, like, basically going into business for themselves. That's a prominent example, I think, of what we're talking about here. But yeah, it's like community manager to kind of, it sounds like you're describing community managers as like a junction point between the community and the company. Whereas I think the distinguishing factor with a lot of these sort of slacktivists who are slotting themselves in the position is, improperly used, that position stops being a junction point and becomes a bottleneck, right? It becomes like an easy point you can triangulate and sort of assail people with whatever ideology. You can skew the perspective of the company or whatever. We definitely saw that with Helldivers, because then after a lot of this popped off with Helldivers 2, Craig just left.
Yeah.
He said he'll BRB.
Yeah. He probably drank too much. Keep going.
After all of this happened with Helldivers 2, there were actual developers from the company that came out and, like, voiced solidarity with the gamers. They were like, oh, no, we're not about this. This person doesn't speak for us. And apparently that person got demoted too.
Really?
Oh, are you talking about the developer that got demoted, or the community manager got demoted?
Community manager, yeah.
Yes. Are you talking about the one for Helldivers, the one that was mod? You talking about
I'm talking about a mod, but that's the tough thing. Yeah, that's the tough thing, because it's interchangeable.
One thing I will say that I experienced whenever I was a community manager was, if you gave mods any type of power, more than likely they didn't know how to handle that, and more often than not, it was abused. If you did not have very strict guidelines on how to behave within the Discord, the Reddit, like, they had to be very open about the fact that they do not speak for the company. Like, you are your own person. You're just here to keep things from being honestly aggressive towards one another, because that was the biggest issue that I saw in the LRG Discord, was people would fight, they'd bicker all the time over, I mean, there's always going to be that sense of tribalism, and their job was to keep that from getting out of hand. It was not their job to speak for the company or to make any types of decisions for the community. That was their job, just to keep the animosity to a minimum. That is the role of a moderator in the Discord, Reddit, whatever.
Right.
The community manager's job is to take the key points that the community is pointing out, key topics, and seeing what they can do to better alleviate a possibly difficult situation.
I actually have a question. Sorry, Karen, to interrupt, but what kind of training goes on in this? Like, do like CMs have lots of training at all, or are they just kind of like thrown in there and be like, good luck?
Majority of the time, I'll be completely honest, I was kind of thrown into it whenever, because I didn't have any previous experience outside of being a content creator, outside of being a streamer. And so, but in that, you have to have some type of experience to build a community and to handle discords, know how to handle situations with an even hand for both parties, that kind of stuff. And so that did play a part of it.
Right.
Whenever I got brought on to be a community manager, there was that aspect of it. And you could prove that aspect, prove those skills by providing like examples of your community. I think that did play a part of it. But I'll be honest, like, I did not have a whole lot of training for community management. Like, whenever I came in, I was okay, here is the tone of the company. This is typically like this is how we want to present ourselves. Like, obviously we don't want to be robotic, but we don't want to be too casual. Kind of gotta have to find that middle ground. And you also want to make sure that you aren't alienating anybody from any side, because the more people that you are welcoming to, the more money you make. And I think that's why I succeeded, is because even though there were particular conversations that were being had in the Discord or on social media, I was very even-handed and I did not pick a side. I was just like, hey, I respect your opinion, but it's time to squash this conversation. This isn't the place for it. If you want to continue this conversation, take it to DMs. This isn't the place for it. And so, go ahead.
I'm sorry. So you putting out something like this, anyone who's a fan of X,
I would immediately remove their moderator status.
Right. So
that's the mods do not have that power. They do not have that power. And that, I instantly would have revoked their mod status, or they would have been reprimanded of some sort, which obviously they did get reprimanded. They went from lead mod or
they went from like head mod to just a normal box standard basic bitch mod.
Do you
so go ahead.
Do you feel that that oftentimes I have a theory when it comes to community managers, right? And people who are in that kind of position, who've never been in that position. I feel like for the first time, a lot of these people are given some sort of power or some semblance of power, and that goes to their head in a major way, where they feel like, I'm a leader in this community, I need to act like it, and thus I will thrust my mighty sword to the ground when I need to. Like that's what it feels like. And they want to establish themselves. It's like, it's a power play for a lot of these folks.
Mm-hmm. And sadly that is like, you do have to have a discussion, be like, hey, you're here to benefit the community, not to promote yourself. And I think that's where a lot of the mods have difficulty understanding, because whenever if you want to, if some of the community comes over to if they happen to upon a stream of yours, or if you're live, if it shows that you're streaming on your status on the side of Discord or something, and somebody from the community pops over, I think that's perfectly fine. But you don't want to be in a community dedicated Discord promoting yourself. And like, I think that's where a lot of them have that difficulty, because they see like, okay, these are my people. Like, I want to capitalize off this as much as possible, but it's not the time or the place for it. And that distinction is difficult for people, especially for people who are just coming from being a mod and nothing more. They think they have more power than they do.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, and I agree with one of these statements in the chat that says bad mods make worse managers. It's because there is that they haven't been taught. They just, unless you provide very distinct guidelines of, hey, this is what your expectations are, they will run rampant. And I think that can really, really be detrimental to your game or your company or whatever it is.
Well, it's like the difference between a good manager. We've all worked for different managers, I'm sure, over the course of our life. We've all had managers that were good. They just led by example. They would never ask you to do something they wouldn't do, right? Like those kind of people. And then you just had the armchair dictators who never did anything and ordered people around, and right, they all but had a writing crop, right? Like those kind of guys. So that's kind of what it sounds like.
And I'm not saying like I was like the most amazing community manager or anything. I just tried to be very even-handed with the community is what my goal was. My goal was to make everyone feel welcome and to make them feel like they weren't talking to corporate game company trademark, whatever it was. I wanted them to feel like they were talking to a person. And if you do put a face to a company, it does tend to make people a little bit more sympathetic or empathetic towards the company, because you have that sense of like togetherness, or it's just like that sense of humanity. And like this, you're here to do something because you love it, not because you're trying to financially benefit off of it for your own personal reasoning. And it's just, it's very difficult to I'll admit it's difficult to see a lot of like these community managers that are being attacked, because yes, they do have very very obscure or very aggressive takes on things, but it's just...
Well, you see this response from Grums here. He says, props to Twinbeard, the only good community manager for Helldivers, who helped keep everyone calm and informed during the PR crisis and never made it about himself. And this is kind of echoing what you said, Kara. That's what a good CM should be doing. Yep.
That is the goal. That should 100% be the goal. Is your job isn't to, and I will say, like, I can understand that some community managers are going to feel protective over a brand. They are probably going to react off of emotion rather than data, whatever you want to call it, or rational thinking. And that is it's something you've seen. I've seen a lot of different community managers trying to do lately. Is they're reacting emotionally rather than for the company.
Whoa. So they're the emotional the emotional reaction instead of I don't know, thinking logically. It's almost,
how dare you?
Like, yes, absolutely. Hey, Flynn,
sounds like emotional damage.
Flynn came in and says, I have a question why we need community managers sometimes. They're either decent or terrible at their job, and there's no in between. Helldivers2 example right there. Do you feel like how many? I don't know. I would just love to hear. Obviously, this is your job, Kara. Your job is to be the liaison. This seems to be for lack of a better term, we've talked about this like an entry level or a lower level position, when I think it actually should be the totally different. It should be a very high level position within a community because you have a very important job. And as we've seen over and over again over the past 6 weeks, month or so, a community manager can really fuck things up really quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you should be compensated well if you are a good community manager, and if you put the emphasis on hiring a good qualified person, like they're more than just a community manager. They could have a very
they're the voice of the company.
Yes.
Yeah, and they can calm things down when things aren't doing well.
Mhm.
Like I remember when Thief 4, right? The fourth Thief game, the one that came out in 2014, the big bomb, when that was being developed, it took a long time to come out. They announced it in like 2009, didn't come out till 2014. It was a long wait. And they must have gone through 3 different community managers. And they kept quitting on them because it was just like, how do you relay info that isn't there? And in the absence of info, the community kind of started cannibalizing itself. And right, like you get a bad community manager in there, you can make a bad situation even worse. And honestly, that was, I'm convinced to this day, the community managers at Eidos Montreal kind of did that development team a disservice and actually gave them an incorrect perception of what people were expecting from a game. And that was part of the problem with the final product. Honestly, it wound up actually being reflected in what a turd that was.
And I will say, being a community manager is not an easy job. Like, you are basically an internet punching bag.
Right.
That is your job, is to be the internet punching bag. And it gets overwhelming. It gets old. It will start to negatively impact your life if you let it. And that was actually one reason why I was stepping down as community manager for Limited Run, is because I was over it. Like, whenever you log in and you see nothing but negative comments with like sprinkles of positive here and there, it really starts to spread over to other aspects of your life, because all you're seeing is the negative. That's what you're accustomed to seeing, and you get overwhelmed and you get stressed. And I think that it is not an easy job. So I do understand the frustrations that a lot of the CMs experience, especially if the company is not being transparent with their fan base. If you are not transparent with your fan base, you make your community managers' lives a living hell. And that is one thing I will always advocate for with like Ripperverse stuff, is we have to be transparent. Like, if we are not transparent, it is a lose-lose situation.
Right. Well, you mentioned kind of the punching bag nature of the position, right? And I know we only got you for another minute or so we'll kind of start putting a bow on this. But don't you feel that, like, Kara, I've met you in person. I've given you hugs. You're wonderful. You're very personable. You're nice. You're a great person, right?
You haven't met me. You don't know, Razor.
I said the first time I met you, I was like, it's like, I think there are forest animals that dress you in the morning. Like,
no, it's just Pikachus.
No, it's Pokemon. You have them trapped in balls.
But the point of this is that, don't you feel that if you're going to be an internet punching bag, and that you're the one who's going to be taking the brunt of the customer, don't you feel like you should not be, as Matthew Hammond puts it over on with the direct donation, you shouldn't be like the community manager Tom Smikowski from Office Space, where he's like, I already told you, I deal with the goddamn customers, so the engineers don't have to. I have people skills. Don't you think you should probably have people skills if you're working as a community manager?
Yes, you absolutely have to have people skills. Like, without a doubt. So have you ever watched what is it? It's the show on Apple TV. It's like Mythic Quest.
Yeah.
The community manager episode that they had was one of the most relatable things I'd ever experienced. Like, whenever somebody, like, they had these kids come in and they're like, I want to do what you do. She's like, no, do something else.
You're basically the Iraqi information minister. Remember that guy?
No, I don't, Razor. Please tell me more.
Actually, the Republican Guard just won a key battle. Disregard the explosions behind me, please. Right?
Oh my god.
That guy.
So thick skin does seem to be a requirement of the job, but
Thick skin and being empathetic. I think you have to have a balance of both to be a successful community manager.
Then what the fuck is wrong with all these community? I feel like all these community managers have like the thinnest skin in the world, and everything you're talking about as far as like the skill sets you need, right? The idea of having people skills, the ability to be emotionally strong, the ability to communicate well with people. It seems like so many of these community managers have none of those skills. So how are these people being hired, Kara?
Because these developers don't really know what the actual job of a community manager is. And a lot of them are going into...
Do you think there's a diversity hire element to it? Maybe they're not hiring based on qualifications every time?
I don't know what you're talking about. That definitely doesn't happen in the games industry.
Right. They're not hired unless they have the correct Planeteer ring.
But but I will say this, and I know I talked to you about this, Craig, before the show, is like, while I understand the frustrations, you will not see me advocating for actual like hired community managers to be fired based off their social media, just because I feel like I have a unique perspective on that, because I was one that was fired based off of a social media post from like 8 years ago.
Right.
And because I followed a handful of people. And so I would be, to me, for my personal experience, would feel hypocritical. And I do not want to be a hypocrite with that. You won't see me endorsing going after any community managers. And it's not like you guys do you, but I personally don't feel like it is something that I could really endorse for myself. So,
and that's understandable for sure. With that said, I think there's the difference between going after and being critical, right? The idea of being critical of the way a situation was handled is a lot different than just directly going after somebody because they think of a certain way, or wanting them fired because they follow a certain account, right?
Now, I will say, if you want to confront or provide some constructive criticism towards somebody, yes, I think that's fine. But I don't think it is your position to go directly to a company and say, hey, I don't like this person, fire them. I think unless you're bringing to the table, hey, this person has done this, and this, within the community, then you can go to them and say, hey, this is how this person is portraying themselves within your own community forums. You might need to have a discussion with them. That, I feel, would be the best way to go about it.
Well, I think that, yes, going to people and actually showing proof of why you feel they haven't done a good job, I think is paramount. You can't just be, it goes back to, why limited earn games, fucked you over, right? Like, you're right. You'd be a hypocrite otherwise, but you weren't fired because you did a poor job. You were fired because you followed something on social media, right? Whereas in specifically this Helldivers2 situation, they should be fired because they did a horrible job. They've done a horrible job, and it has nothing to do with their ideology. It strictly has to do with the way they handled the situation, or at least they should have a firm talking to. Whether it's not my job to decide whether they've been fired or not, but they should absolutely have a firm talking to about what their role specifically is, and how they can do a better job next time. Because there may be another next time, and that's what the community manager's job is to handle those situations. So. Yep.
It's a and it's also on the community manager to discuss what the expectations are with the mods, and they gotta know to keep that out of there. So,
all right. Well, look, I know you got to go, Kara. So we appreciate you coming in.
I'm sorry.
No.
And stay out.
That's That's right. Go back to
And
your
stop
fourth
stalking Razorfist windows.
You can't make me.
All right, well, tell everyone where they can find you real quick before you roll out.
You can find me here on YouTube. I've been doing some gaming streams. If you're wanting just some more laid back game stuff, that's what I do. It's Kara Creates over here on YouTube, and I'm Kara Creates over on Twitter. I see that they just shared my link tree in the chat. If you would so like to come hang out with me sometime. I did just drop some really creepy Pikachu merch, and it makes me very happy. If you can't tell, I like Pikachus, and I thought it was fun. It was fun. But
Love it. Karen, I love you. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate you.
I love you guys too.
You
All right,
do?
Razor.
We'll see you later. Yeah.
Leave me alone.
You do.
Oh, bye guys.
Bye.
And JK Razor, I do like you. You're cool. You're cool peeps.
Engage.
Even though your hair always looks wet for some reason, and I don't understand it.
Yeah.
No, just curly.
That's
What?
that's the monochromatic nature of it. Just blends
Yeah,
right
yeah.
in. It's
Do
good.
you put gel in your hair, Razor?
No.
Just lovely. What's that like hair? What's that
Ask
like?
Alyssa.
What's that like, huh?
You don't
You
feel
know-
the hair, the wind.
Well,
in
you
your
see,
hair,
son, when you don't have inferior genetics. No, I'm just kidding.
That's right. Oh, that's rough. You know, we got a lot of support today, and you guys obviously have a lot of input on these discussions. We greatly appreciate it. We're going to get to every single one of those direct donations, Rumble rants, super chats along the way. Animate Acumen came in with a $50 super chat. Says the layoffs will continue until morale improves. I love democracy. Animate Acumen, that is massive and huge. And speaking of massive and huge, Razor, what color are we going with today, Big Daddy?
Oh, let's see here. Green.
And Big Daddy.
Why would I not call him Big Daddy?
Do I need to call HR, Razorfist? You let
I'm
me
not
know.
a small daddy.
Yeah, like what are we gonna do, small daddy? Like,
I'm
come
not
on.
a manlet. Like, what?
Average daddy.
I know I'm just a head on a screen, but come on, like, don't sell me short here.
I'm just saying, Blabs.
I'm not
Like
Ben Shapiro. What is it?
back in the day, we used to call it, hey, daddy, yo.
Right.
You know, I'm just saying, it's just a fun term. Love that. Hey, thank you so much. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to, and you know, like I said, we're going to get to every single one of these, and it's important that we do because we appreciate all your support. But I would like to point this tweet out. I saw this tweet just now on my timeline, and this is from Kelly with a wonderful flag next to they/them's name. But I think that, and this is going to sound really, really harsh here. This is they worked at Arcane as a game dev. It says, it doesn't matter how hard we work. It doesn't matter if we live, breathe, and bleed games. Developers are nothing but cogs in the machine, easily disposed of and replaced. I'm devastated and so very tired. I could care less about who tweeted it, right? But I'm going to be like, I'm going to say the quiet part out loud. They're right. They're 100% right. Developers are cogs in the machine. They are the part of the engine that makes the car go. That's just the reality of it. And I'm sorry, that's unfortunate, but that everybody in some way is some sort of cog to a machine. And the sooner that you can realize that, go ahead, Razor.
And look, if you're hired for diversity, you can be fired just as easily.
Mhm.
If you didn't earn your job, you're even more likely to get fired. And some people are going some distance out of their way today not to learn that lesson.
You know, I think, and as Kladik says, like, all jobs are like that.
Yep.
That's right. All jobs are like it. You know?
Yes,
And
they are. Jesus.
100%. Guess what? If you're a barista at Starbucks, you're a cog in the coffee making machine.
Oh, man, I worked at a local business. One of the best jobs I ever had. Thought I would be there forever. Walk into work one day. Oh, sorry, we're laying a bunch of people off. You got to go. And
Yep.
I wasn't the only one who got laid off. It just was what it was, right? It was the middle of the Great Recession. They didn't have much money.
That's the reality of it. And it's this thing that nobody wants to say, but everybody knows. And as soon as you say it, you're the bastard, you're the mean guy. But that's the reality of the situation. And as soon as everybody understands that, look, Kelly trans rights, Kelly. Hey, listen, if you are the lead campaign at Arcane, go be an indie dev. Go work for yourself. Then you could be the biggest cog in your machine, right? That's the reality of it, is there's a lot of people who lost their job today. And if they're talented, they should double down on themselves. Double down on themselves, go crazy, become an indie dev, create the game in your vision, self-publish it on Steam, and do it all yourself. That's the reality. These people are looking at this negatively. This is the best thing that could potentially happen to them. Best thing that could potentially happen to them.
Yeah, because you don't have to make Redfall again. Have I mentioned I hate Redfall enough today?
Only once or twice.
There's a rumor going around. It's just,
was it when I called it Spedfall? Was that a...
Hey, Blab, great news. Great news for you, Blabs.
Hi.
Chadius picked up the brand new Blabs karaoke. Says, go Blabs, let's go. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Chadius, appreciate that. Mage Leader came in, says the Mighty Ducks series is good, right up there with Tailspin, where Baloo from Jungle Book pilots a flying boat.
Pilots a flying boat with no pants on.
Great point. Great point. Mercenary says, also Razor, I hope you're enjoying Jurassic Park the game. It might be the last thing I can send for a while. I've got repairs to do. Thanks, Mercenary.
Good luck to you, and thank you.
I am the Icarus, came in at the 5, says the pizza poll results were a disgrace. Pizza Hut got robbed. I need to go back and see what the final result was. I had a poll.
Grace is like, what now?
I did a poll on X that was just like, it was of the top 4 major corporation pizza places, which is Domino's, Little Caesars, Pizza Hut, and
if Domino's won this poll, then democracy was a mistake.
Well, let's kind of take a look really fast. Oh boy, it was close, Razor. It was close. The final poll results: 31% Papa John's, Domino's right behind. Almost 30.8.
Here's the thing. I don't get this. This is chain pizza, man. It's crap. Why wouldn't you vote for Little Caesars? You know it's going to be crap. At least it can be cheap crap. What is wrong with you people? And Little Caesars has underrated pizza anyways. Just order it fresh. You don't get that nasty stuff that's been sitting under the heat lamp. It's actually pretty good.
And this has
Always
been
pay tribute to the Caesar.
And this has been Razor's Pizza Economy session.
That's right. Hey,
I am now the Little Caesars Pizza community manager.
Hey, Delta came in. So speaking of China, Remedy got more investment from Tencent. They'll probably see closure in a decade. Disney and Epic Games will be interested when China goes after Taiwan, and we finally start enforcing down on foreign investing there. Thank you, Delta. It says another one that will look like a massive blunder is when GSC Studios closes down after they finally released Stalker 2. You had a developer on Alexi. They're owned by Embracer, and they were the Microsoft darling during the presentation back in 2022. Thank you, Delta. Appreciate that. Spaz Badger came in with the $10 direct donation. Once again, we appreciate those direct donations as YouTube doesn't take 30% of them. It says, Spaz Badger says, the industry likes to treat gamers like Harry Vincent. There you go. Spaz Badger. Appreciate that.
Little shadow reference. No one will get that reference.
Razor does, and that's what was important. Darksea LP came in and gifted 5 memberships to the channel. We love that. Thank you so much for those memberships. If you guys got gifted, that makes you say a thank you and consider paying it forward. Really appreciate that, Darksea LP. Fly you fools tipped with $10 direct donation. Says, Razor, I started reading The Long Moonlight over the weekend. Great story. Are there plans for more books in the Night Vale series? Keep up the good work and rock on.
There's
Go ahead, Fly.
The second one, obviously, Death Mask. And since the second volume of Ghost of the Badlands is already written, I'm starting to work on a new Night Vale book now. So,
oh, look at you. Look at you.
So we'll be up to volume 3. And when we do that, we'll be able to release the big leather slipcase thing with all of them together and all the extra stuff and pictures.
Are you doing like real leather?
Oh yeah.
Nice. No, this
Do
is
I look like
so
someone who uses fake leather? Come on now.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just love the idea of Razor going out slaughtering the cows and manufacturing the leather himself. Like he's out there. It's like, yeah, let's if we're gonna do it, we're gonna go right to the source.
Yes, and
hey, Blabs, good news. Florian picked up the brand new Blabs karaoke bar staff t-shirt. There we go. Look at that. Hey, thanks, Florian. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
And Delta came back with the $5 direct donation. Says, only community manager I think I've ever been aware of was Natural Selection 2 Unknown Worlds. She would be on servers playing with us, offered me PAX exclusive skins, suggested to the devs about me being a map playtester. I was never on the forums. There you go, Delta. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right, let's go get to some of these, some of this amazing support today. Thank you guys again.
I'm gonna fly through these. All
All
right. Animate says they fly now. They fly now. Star Wars reference. Eric, fun fact: Tom Cruise played a Harvey Weinstein-like character in Tropic Thunder.
Yes.
Thanks, Eric. Worthy one. Hey, Razor, if you could save one comic book character from the current day bad writing and rebrand him or her, which one would it be and why? Ooh,
Daredevil.
Oh, that was easy. Wow.
Right.
Across all media, not just in comics, also the show. Just to bring it back to how good the Netflix show was and bring back how good the comics were a few years ago.
Did you like the Netflix series?
Love the Netflix series.
I heard nothing but good stuff.
One of my favorite top 5 TV shows of all time. It's amazing.
Really? Wow. Okay, cool.
It's not just a good superhero show. It's legit like one of the best crime shows you'll ever watch.
Nice.
AC? If you want to see change, you have to hit them where it hurts. Their wallets. Yes, correct. Thank you very much.
Breach.
Gear. The Helldivers thing recently is peak democracy.
Let's go.
Gear. Lance says Arcade 1-Up needs to make a cabinet of the original Donkey Kong, but I'm sure that the licensing for that would be a nightmare. Thank you, Lance. Cadith Gaming.
I'm surprised they don't already have one.
Yeah, I'm sure it's Nintendo, right? So you're dealing with the licensing attached to Nintendo, so it'd be pretty pricey.
Okay, Cadith Gaming. There is a fan Hobbit literary movie cut. All the fluff taken out. It clocks in at 4-ish hours. Nerdrotic recommends. Can't link in Superchat, souls. That's right. Thank you very much, Cadith Gaming. Dwight Power. I also rewatched Demolition Man a few weeks ago. A frighteningly accurate prediction of the future. I'm basically living in it in current day UK. Well, oh yeah, good luck to you, man. Rip Night Kingdom. Gamer08. Hashtag Jar Jar was based. Thank you. Lance. Jar Jar truly was the key to it all. I mean, he literally elected the Senate.
See how high he could jump? I mean, come on.
Dude, in the Lego video games, if you double jump, that guy flies. I'm just saying.
Let's go.
Vimaran became a YouTube member. Look at that avatar. Making lame and gay. Obi-Wan Shinobi for democracy. Thank you very much, member, for 2 months. Josh spent 6 weeks in China in 2015. Many commercials on TV advertising skincare products that remove melanin from skin. Black persons turn very white Asian. That's funny.
Hey, Josh.
Thank you, Josh. Gamer. Hashtag Walt Disney's Frozen Head for President 2024. Oh, that's...
I'm just realizing what happened to Sammy Sosa. Sorry, after that.
Oh, no. He's spent time in China, got some supplements over there.
Joey, the classic 80s and 90s Disney movies are the only reason I keep my Disney Plus subscription. Yeah, if you have kids, like, I can see no reason not to have that. Let's be real. It's all there. The Comstar Knight 36. So, take back Battletech when? Let's go.
Kill the meat, save the metal.
Umarit. Total chud victory. We did it, boys. 07.
That phrase, chud. Such a stupid.
Lance Corporal Hawk 30. I'm slowly catching up to the live stream, but does Craig realize that Bernard Hill played King Theoden and the captain of the Titanic? Yes, we talked about it yesterday. Thank you, Lance.
Listen, as the preeminent Lord of the Rings fan here and possibly on the internet, don't squabble with this weak knowledge that you're throwing out at me, Lance Corporal Hawk. Come on. I am the Lord of the Rings master.
Yeah,
the biggest Lord of the Rings fan perhaps ever.
Listen, Craig's gonna go against Gary soon, and they're gonna do Lord of the Rings trivia.
You should play Lego Lord of the Rings.
I love that game. It's scary though. I had to change the music sometimes because it did. It was freaking me out. The Orcs, man, terrifying. Especially since I played it when I was a kid. So I'm just saying, I had to change the music. Going on. The worthy one, PokemonGo, gonna learn today.
Gonna learn today. That's right, worthy one.
The number one schmuck. Rare opportunity to listen live as I'm not usually up early enough. Nothing to contribute, but hail Razorfish.
Let's go, Razorfish. New emote.
It is a species of fish.
Hail Razorfish. Sorry, and I wish I didn't live in California.
Number one schmuck. You don't.
We
have
all
to.
wish you didn't live in California.
You can go anywhere you want. Number one schmuck. Go anywhere.
Yeah. Well, not if you live in California. You know they actually tax you to move out of California now.
What?
Tax you for breathing and everything. So
There's like a special tax if you want to leave that god-awful post-apocalyptic state.
Oh my God, that's very California.
right.
Oh yeah.
Iron Age media. One area I've been looking to increase focus on is non-woke indie video games. Would side-scrollers and or Razor be interested in talking to some smaller studios with playable demos, EA games?
Yeah.
I would actually be interested in getting into video game development and publishing. I love all about I think what Razor's doing with with your work. I think what Eric's doing with his work, the idea of creating these parallel economies. I mean, it only makes sense for us to dip into video game development.
I've been saying this since I made my Iron Age video. I'm like kind of waiting for it to hit video games because in comics, in books, it seems like it's starting to get kind of established and get a little bit of momentum going. But video games, man, and movies, the movies and stuff too, like independent films.
Yes. Yeah, I think that'd be great. I really do. I think it's something that we should absolutely do.
Okay. Sigrun Airturna. Round Earth is a tulpa created by people who are trying to convince us that the penal colony became a nation that lost two wars against emus could possibly be a real place. Australia isn't real. I mean, I've been there, so it is real. But yeah.
But
I saw the movie with Hugh Jackman. It's real.
Lance, video game industry flooding the market with over-budget, overhyped garbage resulted in massive company layoffs and closures. Is it 1984 again? No,
1983. That's right.
Ha! 60 watt. You think they've cut enough of Bethesda, but ... No, they haven't.
More will come. Bass
player, it just works. Thank you very much.
All right.
Nathan, member for 10 months. Rock on. Son says, ahoy, hoy.
Ahoy, ahoy. That's
right. Duke, Microsoft gave Arcane full freedom. Arcane execs gave them Redfall. Tenga was on life support after Shinji Mikami and the funny Ghostwire Tokyo director left. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Duke. Appreciate that.
4 a.m. All right. Sad these studios shutting down. Better learn to code. 4 a.m. Bolo says, Razor, have you heard of a Last Train Home RTS train survival simulator with stealth elements? You lead the last train of the Czech Legion home through the Russian Revolution at the end of the Great War.
I did hear about this. It's an interwar game. We've heard of World War I games. We've heard of World War II games. It's a game set between the wars. That's weird. But yeah, I have heard of this.
Tech support gaming. Can we go back to the 2000s and 2010s when the female characters were hot and human and publishers funded random concept at the wall to see what sticks?
Right? Imagine the game developer sitting around going, all right, guys, hear me out. Earthworm Jim. Like, what? Earthworm in a spacesuit with a ray gun. Let's do this, guys. Like, what?
Right. Go ahead.
I think it says anti-hero.
Anti-hero, yeah.
Guten Abend, everybody. Thank you to Reza. I'm reading The Blue Dawn at the moment, and the Baron's Punisher Ron is on his way to me. You are Greg. should stream The Great Rebellion to celebrate the Iron Age. Are you Greg now, Greg?
That's me, Mr. Greg.
I'm old Greg. I'm old Greg.
I have played Great Rebellion. It's fun. It's fun.
Delivery Man Q. Craig, the way you say ridiculous reminds me of the scene in Dirty Work where Norm Macdonald gets prison grouped. How about an impression real quick?
Can you do a Norm Macdonald impression?
Yeah, I can't really sound like him, but I know his mannerisms, kind of his dialect, the way he, it's like, so O.J. Simpson was it, it has kind of like a roller coaster vibe to it, right?
Does he talk like Matthew Perry?
Then it's very deadpan at the end. It's
always not that deadpan. Sorry.
No, yeah. Well, let me see if I'll give you one in just a second.
I know, I cringed at that one too. It's all right.
That was good.
Rough. Darwinist HD2 has been training players for months to form a united front against the common enemy. Train us for this. Sony was the true enemy of Super Earth. Thank you very much. Base player. Can it even be called a microtransaction when you're spending $20 on a skin? Yeah, probably not.
There we go.
Mega transaction.
Here's your Norm Macdonald impersonation. I once walked in on my parents having sex. It was the most embarrassing 30 minutes of my life.
Ew.
I felt like that was pretty spot on as far as his dialect,
Moving on.
Yeah.
Lord of the
No, you got to do it's got to be an OJ joke. It's got to be like.
I'll see if we can find one. Here we go.
Right. No, so O.J. Simpson said that he would have died for Nicole Brown Simpson. Boy, I tell you, that's terrible luck when the guy who would die for you kills you.
He was so brilliant, so freaking brilliant.
It's funny. Everybody does a Norm impression all the same, but he didn't sound like that, right? Like he didn't sound like that at all. But if you watch early stuff when he was like a young man, like 19, 20, there is some footage out there. He sounds exactly like that. Like
1920. You mean 1990?
When he was 19 or 20, like
not the year, Craig. Ugh.
Not 1920. He wasn't like
1920s Norm.
Right.
Moving on.
Walked up there in a zoot suit.
Bethesda didn't even make the best Fallout game. Obsidian did.
This is pretty good.
Caffeinated Wolf. Damn it, Craig! Caffeinated Wolf says everything that Bethesda puts out runs like it was developed on a toaster. Thank you, Caffeinated
According
Wolf.
to retailers, the most popular Halloween mask this year is O.J. Simpson. And the most popular Halloween greeting is, I'll kill you and that guy who's bringing you over. I'll kill you and that guy who's bringing over your glasses or treat. He's fucking brilliant. God, he's awesome. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Blabs.
Okay, Mage says, I'll give Bo Jiden one thing. When the economy is this bad, it's hard to nickel and dime your customers and get away with it. Thanks, Mage. Boise Bird. Meanwhile, Nintendo's profit during the Switch era surpasses the combined profit from 1981 to 2016, even adjusted for inflation with the new console coming.
Yep.
Yes, thank you, Boise Bird. It's a great name.
In other book news, Prince Charles released an autobiography in which he states that he never loved Princess Di and that his father pressured him to marry her. The book is titled, Of Course OJ Did It. I mean, come on.
I don't get it. What's so funny?
The point was he would not stop talking about O.J. Simpson having murdered his wife. He would not stop. He would turn other stories into stuff. And Dennis Miller would do the same thing on his show. It was like a running joke between the two of them. They'd go back and forth on O.J. jokes.
Okay. Riker's beard, elephant in the room. The budgets for games are getting completely out of hand.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Spartan, help! Message not sent. Edit and try again. Well, I mean, you're here, so thank you.
Thanks, Spartan.
Talk of the White. A lot easier to justify crummy games when interest rates are 0%. Little harder at like 5 or 6%. Also, Clegg for The Hobbit. Go for one of the fan edits. Yeah, Clegg. Thank you very much, Trevor the White.
Clay, thank you. Nice to hear from the Asian community.
Miku or Miku, feminist if the test is positive, rip and tear. Thank you very much.
In other news,
what?
Murder.
Craig, Jesus Christ. Every time.
Murder is legal in California.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
Did you ever see him at the ESPYs?
Oh, no, but I need to.
He's presenting the ESPY, and somebody had just won the Heisman Trophy. He's like, "Why? I can't tell you. That is, I just can't congratulate you enough about winning the Heisman Trophy. Boy, that is something they can never take away from you. Unless, of course, you kill your wife and a waiter. Then it's pretty much anybody's."
God, he's awesome. He's awesome. Oh, man.
Do you two need to be alone together with like romanticizing Norm?
Just hey, Razor and Craig, Norm Macdonald appreciation stream. That's
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay, go ahead, Blabs. I'm sorry.
Oh, thanks. Open Maw Productions. So you can't say the C word that rhymes with ommunist. There goes my Starship Troopers reference. Would you like to know more? Thank you, Open Maw Productions. Matthew says, who is going to come out on the other end of the gaming crash? Mobile studios like Tencent and Nintendo will stick around, but will Microsoft shareholders demand Xbox make money and Sony abandon consoles? Excellent question.
Good question, Matthew. I think that, yes, Nintendo will be there because Nintendo has more money than God, and Tencent will also be there. But I do think that at a certain point, Microsoft and Sony, Microsoft in particular, will bounce.
Spartan comes back and says,
I think I would qualify that. I don't think Microsoft bounces from PC gaming because that's always been their thing. That I don't think they leave that. Sony may. Maybe Sony migrates to PC. I could see that.
Spartan, hate to say Helldivers2 is still live service. Slop with microtransactions. What happened was a small victory. We didn't have this garbo 15 to 20 years ago in games. True. And then Razor, why am I blocked on X? NS Spartan 111. He's like Taryn did it.
I didn't even recognize your name.
60 watt for 5. Go. We need some go. We need some action if we're gonna make it like a true survivor. Thank you, 60 watt.
Yes. Have you heard that song?
No.
David Hasselhoff, True Survivor.
Oh.
David Hasselhoff's got a mullet. There's lightning. There's a DeLorean.
Dude, let's go.
It's a scene, man.
60 watt says Discord mods complete with mandatory fedoras. Ooh. Flynn, Helldivers2 may or may not be fixed. Thank you, Flynn. Epsilon Alma says, here's $2 for your gringos. Arriba, side G's.
Sorry.
J.A., what is the difference between a press secretary of public relations for a company versus company community manager?
Oh, that's a good question, J.A.
Yeah, press secretary is like more directly involved with the company. They're the ones who have to turn the lawyer's legalese into a public statement. Community managers just relay that then to the public via social media and such.
L5. Darwinist Jungles simply means that they don't want to have to be accountable for their bad results. They don't want survival of the fittest. Obvious why.
They don't want to compete.
Yeah. Goku McDuck. Gaming die when Minecraft Steve got into Smash. Thank you, Goku McDuck. Stony Bridge. Hail the stream. Former CM and Embracer publisher. Kara has the right of it with the CM sphere, but not all of us are progressive NPCs. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Stony Bridge.
Kyle, coming in late to the show. Don't know if you guys mentioned this, but Nintendo president said we will make an announcement about the successor to Nintendo Switch within this fiscal year. Yeah, it was on the dock, but we'll talk about it a little bit maybe tomorrow.
Yeah. But
thank you, Kyle. Grimbones, do you support DEI practices now?
Well, Grim, if you'd like to, I actually put a statement out about side-scrollers DEI practices probably about a month and a half ago, and it consists of this. Side-scrollers will hire the best person for the job. There it is. That's our DEI.
Plus Blabs.
And Blabs. That's right. Or Blabs. One of the
William Sova for 5. Hello, everybody. If you want to see how CM can sour fan base to your property, look up the history of Mike Pondsmith's Mectin 0 or Mighty Number 9.
Oh, Mighty Number 9, dude. You remember that was a YouTube genre for a minute. Just people dunking on Mighty Number 9. That was a huge mess.
Real quick about the Switch 2. They did. So long and short, I saw this tweet from my retro life over here. They put this out. Nintendo has announced that they will be an announcement for the Switch 2 finally by March 2025. So yes, pretty much they're gonna announce it before the end of their financial year. So in the next 9 months, we'll know more about the Switch 2. Which, keeping in mind, we were supposed to have. There are rumors that we may have the Switch 2 by the end of 2024. So the timeline for this has been continuously shifted and pushed. So yeah, we'll dig into it more tomorrow.
All right. William says, hello, everybody. If you want... Oh, we just read that. Thank you, William. Sorry, I didn't uncheck it.
Daniel There's the diversity hire, Craig.
La, la, la. Right. Daniel says, Razorfist makes the world a better place. Common sense, man. Hell.
Well, that makes one person who thinks that.
Epsilon Alma says, I lived in Phoenix, and I don't know how Razor can have long hair. Do you just put it up in a bun or something, or is it always flowing?
I do sometimes, actually.
You rock the man bun?
Oh.
No, I'll do the ponytail thing sometimes.
Okay. GK got killed.
What was that about?
Yeah,
what was that? There was some judgment in that.
There was some definite.
I had a joke, but then I said no.
There's a little stank on that.
I had a joke.
Words about
but
that.
I didn't. I'm a nice girl. I won't say it. GK got killed, member for 13 months. As one who was laid off because I was hired on as a bloat, I had laid myself off too because I wasn't getting paid to do very little work. Self-awareness, please. Most people don't have self-awareness anymore.
Thanks, GK. Appreciate you.
Oh, look, it's Dev. Commies have it wrong when they complain about having to answer to a boss. If you own the business, you have to answer to your customers instead. Thank you, Dev.
Dev nailed it.
The Orange Man, Razor favorite manga or series?
That's tough. Akira. My favorite anime, or no, he just said manga. So yeah, probably Akira, the original Akira comics. I got those in color from Dark Horse. I got the black and white ones. I've rebought that series so many times.
Okay. 60 Watt says we need some big cog energy.
There you go.
Flynn, what kind of video games?
I think I'd be open to any video game as far as developing out. As long as it's a good idea, as long as it's going to be fun to play. Yeah, I think that's naturally the first iteration is a dating sim. Dating advice with Craig. That'd be great. Filled with microtransactions.
So it is a dating sim.
Yeah.
Right.
Higo 44, Craig, you've ruined me. I can't get 50 guides out of my head.
Thanks, Higo. Appreciate it.
Brockenstein for the Clegg and Razor Norm appreciation stream. Dylan, Craig, when Sabaton?
That seems like a question for Razor, not me. Thanks, Dylan.
Anyway, the number one schmuck. All big chain pizza has bad crust, but at least Domino's damage control by putting some nice herbs on it to make it edible. That's why they get my vote.
Yeah, but you can't chew on it. Man, have you ever had Domino's? You could trowel cement with that crust. Are you kidding me?
That's what I think of.
Oh my you throw butter on a brick and it'll taste good. I'm just saying, butter's delicious. Hey, Black Shirt.
Melanie?
Butter's great. Godspeed, Side Scrollers and Razorfist. Got my Ghost of the Badlands monochrome copy on the way on my way to the communist ice hole of Canada. Can't wait. Has Blab seen RoboCop yet?
Hey.
No.
Not yet. No. Well, Blabs, we're definitely going to sit down and watch RoboCop one day. Black Shirt and Jeans says, last I read, Disney still has not made the money they bought Star Wars with back in the day. They bought it for $4 billion, but have yet to clear $3 billion with the IP. Over $1 billion pissed away. Doesn't seem necessarily right, but I mean, maybe they have growth.
No, I mean, if you do the math in your head, I mean, the box office for The Force Awakens was $1 billion. That was kind of the big story around that. The next one didn't make that. Last Jedi didn't make that. None of the spin-offs made that. Yeah, I mean, it kind of checks out.
Don't forget that the hotel flopped
Oh my god.
completely.
Right.
And that was super expensive. So, yeah.
And didn't they do like a Star Wars land or something at
Yeah, the
Disneyland?
Galactic Galaxy, whatever the hell it's called. It's not
Yeah.
doing that great. Their merch doesn't really sell.
Yeah, that
So-
whole thing went up like a bag of dried leaves at a Great White concert. From what I heard, it was like not even. Who are the guys who'd always talk about that? Freaking world-class bullshitters. They always talk about that.
Yeah, Jeff's pretty good.
Ree came in and says, to save our Mother Earth from any alien attacks from vicious giant insects who have once again come back, we'll unleash all our forces. We won't cut them any slack. The EDF deploys. Thank you, Ree. Appreciate that.
Yes.
Matthew came in with the 5, says, some studies are better than others. Dave Ramsey talks about how what Nintendo did during the Wii U, where executives took pay cuts to keep employees. He criticized companies that fire employees to raise quarterly profits. Then he included a link to that. Thank you very much, Matthew. Greatly appreciate that. Hey, Blabs, good news. Zeldgear picked up the brand new Blabs karaoke t-shirt right now. Go pick one up. Link is in the description. Thank you very much, Zeldgear. Nikki Felty came in with the $5 direct donation. Says, can Blabs look up what vor is?
Ugh.
I don't know what this is.
No.
I don't want to know what this is.
No, because Razor will no, so I won't do it.
Good. Sorry,
Thank
Nikki.
you, Nikki, but no.
You've been rejected to half court. Left Cross came in and says they built their Darwinist jungle. They're just mad they couldn't control it anymore. Thank you very much. Wolf Colt says I'm Razorfish. Cod. Fuck speed. Pretty genius right there. Uh-oh. Shaker came into the 199 says, in a brilliant move during closing arguments, Simpson's attorney put on the knit cap prosecutors say OJ wore the night he committed the murders, although OJ may have hurt his case when he suddenly blurted out, "Hey, easy with that. That's my lucky stabbing hat." That's brilliant. Oh my god.
Did you ever see him on Dennis Miller Live?
No.
He was like the only person who kept coming back. Like every season he'd come back. So he was like the only regular guest on the show. And at the gag with them was every time he would sit down for an interview with Dennis, Norm would find a way to work the word cock into the interview. Every time. Genius.
That's awesome. That's spectacular. Winston Fujimori came in and says, I disagree with Razor. I think that the Dishonored series and Prey, despite its finicky gameplay, were absolute bangers. But yeah, they shit the bed with Redfall. Thanks, Winston. Appreciate that. And finally, Matthew came in and says, Sony will have released the PlayStation 5, PlayStation 5 Pro before Nintendo Switch 2 is released. We need the Norm appreciation stream with Craig and Razor on locals.
Right.
And Anima Chain says, Razor, check out Daedric Mortal.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, Anima. And Fluffy Pro says, if Blab sees Bring It On, will she move on to other teen movies from the 2000s and late 90s, like She's All That and 10 Things I Hate About You? Have you seen either of
those movies? But that would be something fun to do. Watch all the those type of movies in the 90s and early 2000s, even some of the 80s ones that I missed.
Right.
She's All That.
I haven't
That's
even
my
seen...
more thing. I don't want to see Terminator. That's not my thing. It's not gonna be fun.
Blabs, that's the point.
But I don't want to have fun when I'm watching these things with people. I don't want to be sitting there going, oh.
Okay, fine. Well, we're going to make this work. And finally, Daniel says, has Blabs ever already heard of the Eiffel Tower position? Norm MacDonald on Saturday Night
Yes,
Live.
I know what that is.
All right, we're going to get out of here before people start asking what other positions you know of, which is, let's not make it weird.
Time to go. Goodbye, everybody.
It is time to go. All right, Razor, thanks so much for hanging out with us today. Always fun to have you on Tuesdays, which is great.
Yep.
You got anything you want to promote before we roll out?
There we go.
Wow. We'll pick it up. Ghost to the Badlands. Link is in the description. We're going to put it down there so everybody can go get it if you haven't picked it up. Now is the time, in beautiful monochromatic or full color, right? Which is great.
The color version is going to come out in a couple of weeks.
Awesome.
Yep.
Appreciate you guys popping in. Kara, we appreciate Kara hanging out with us for a little bit. Good, nice 90 minutes, sharing her insight and all this. And of course, you can find Blabs over on YouTube as we move her close to monetization over there, which is great. Thank you guys so much for monetizing our stream today with your super chats, your direct donations, and Rumble rants, and your re-memberships. Like Joseph says, a Norm appreciation stream. We're forgetting something. You guessed it. Frank Stallone. Thanks, Joseph. Appreciate that. With that said, appreciate you guys, all your support. And remember, people are going to try to keep you down. Don't let them. You guys got a goal. Go get it. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.
Fatality.